Okay, so let's talk a little bit more specifically about what I'm trying to do in terms of framework, okay? Now, what I mean by framework is literally how are we going to organize the curriculum for this class? Well, to me, it makes the most sense that we organize the curriculum based on when we get to it. And one of the best ways to organize something is to base it on something real. I'm also a model railroader, and if you want to make a really good model railroad, go figure out why the real railroad does something, and that's probably the way you're going to need to model it, because they came up with that for a reason. Somebody else has already gone to the hard work of putting together that organizational pattern. So in the same way, I thought when I put this project together using a shed as a framework that we would be jumping right into geometry. And I was wrong, because in fact the very first place that you start on any project is gathering pricing data. So one of the very first things that we're going to need to do in this project is actually work with data in tables and learn how to find sums, averages, varieties, variations, and figure out how to organize all that numerical data into something that's useful. Well, you say, well, that's statistics. True, but if you've really ever done anything in life, it's time and it's money. And those two things have to be budgeted on any project that you do. So it kind of makes sense that in informal geometry, that's where we might start there as well. Additionally, the thing about it is, it's a skill that every kid needs. So it works out. So then let's get to the geometry. No, not really at all. Because the first thing I did was I built a scale model because I wanted something for the kids to be able to touch, manipulate, look at, and visualize. And that's something that seems very, very reasonable. But to do that, that means we talked about ratios and proportions. Ratio, proportion, and scale. And so that's where we went there. But even once we did that, then we had to figure out slopes, rise over run, and we had to talk about the Pythagorean theorem to find the lengths of certain components. And so those are algebra topics, or maybe pre-algebra topics. But again, that's okay, because the project demands it. And so when we start talking about using a building as a framework, it really has already started to shift maybe some of my own expectations, even though I have built the garage I'm filming this in, I built the house it's attached to, I built the house across the street. I've done this a number of times, but sometimes you actually forget how many steps are involved when you're doing it the first time, or in our case, when you're trying to teach somebody else to do it. So the idea here is we're going to start class off with a problem. Hey, kids, we want a shed. We want a building to contain these types of items. Now I want you to go figure out how would you do that? And I'm going to give them that open-ended question. Now, for some of them, they're going to say, well, I'm going to hire somebody to build. Okay, fine, find me a price. Well, you can buy them pre-built. Well, yes, you can. So find out how you would go about doing that. Well, I would build it myself. Okay, great. Well, where would you start on that? And let the questions kind of come out of the students, and really start this with a problem. I need a place to store stuff. What are the solutions? And deal with some of those solutions independently until we kind of determine that, all right, of all these things, we're going to go off in this direction, and that's going to be to build. And we're going to do it custom, so no kits allowed. So that allows us to begin a starting place in the class. Now, I don't know if this is going to last a quarter. I don't know if this is going to last a semester, because we're going to come to a topic and then we're going to break off and learn about that topic a little bit. Then we'll come back and then we'll learn about some other topic as we need to, and let the building be the guide. But how long that takes, I don't know. I haven't done it before. But that's part of putting yourself out there for your students and figuring out, you know what? Worst case scenario, if everything goes pear-shaped, I can always get the book out and turn to page 472. And as long as whatever I'm doing is better than that, then I win. And so do the kids. And so as long as we're making use out of the framework, and as long as it's giving us the types of things we need, then we're winning, because it's better than those kids that are not really math inclined and maybe haven't always had a great experience with it. It keeps them from doing this number in a book. And so that, I think, is going to be a win. Now, additionally, where's it all leading? Well, for some of these students, this is going to be actually a capstone course. And so this is going to be the end of their journey. What I would like to see, and what I'm kind of aiming for here in the end, is I would like them to build a small structure of their choosing. I want them to figure out what they want, what need they might have for it, what type of structure it would be, what it's made of, how much it's going to cost, design it, figure it out, put it all together. And maybe that presentation is a model like this. Maybe it's a scale drawing. Maybe it's a Minecraft. Maybe it's a 3D SketchUp. Maybe it's an art piece, or maybe it's just a literary walkthrough and a description, and I don't know. But the idea here is that allows us quite a bit of flexibility, but it allows the student to take ownership of the project. That's what we mean by using a building as a framework for the curriculum. The curriculum is going to be where we have to go. Now, am I going to get all the little boxes checked off for geometry? You betcha. But I know enough about building to know there's geometry, and it pretty well covers the whole gamut. If I want it to stand up straight, I want it to be square, I want it to look right, I want it to be proportioned correctly. All of those things are going to be somewhere in that building. And so I don't have any worries that I'm going to be able to get through the entire curriculum. Will it necessarily go where I think it's going to go? I doubt it. But that's okay. It's just like the vacation I'm going to take here in 2 days. We're going to make the key stops that we know we're going to be there, but there are also going to be some things that we're going to stop and find along the way, or they're going to be surprises. I'm pretty confident that in this project, where we're going to hit the main stops, there's also going to be some big surprises, but that's okay, because as a teacher, we're going on the journey together with our students, and that's really kind of what it's about. If you want to get crazy, by the way, if you want to get crazy, my special education teacher, when I kind of told her about this, she suggested that we get a foundation grant from the local education foundation and build a playhouse, and with a grant money, and then raffle the playhouse with the proceeds going back to the foundation. If you want to talk about getting crazy and really putting it on the line, that's crazy. I'm not going there yet. But then again, maybe next year, that's a good look. So join me as we do the rest of the vlogs, and we'll talk about not just how we're doing it, but why we're doing it. Folks, do take just a few minutes. I want to make sure you know that the Flip Learning Network is all about community, and our goal is to create content not to make money, but to help you. And so to help you, whether it's vlogs, whether it's some of our podcasts, whether it is our blogs, or whether it's the chats that happen on Monday evenings in Twitter, or something else, we're here to help you. Let us know by going to fliplearning.org, contact us, and let us know how we can be of assistance to you. Additionally, if you're interested, do take a look at some of our blogs, vlogs, etc., and our podcast, because there's some really interesting people that you may want to know. Additionally, if you want to support us, that's great. We do have a Patreon page, and you can get that link again, fliplearning.org. And we really just want to be your community resource. Thank you very much.